Hello everybody, SlimKirby here. Welcome to Clockwork Castle, the last party mode board of the game, and of this playthrough. To get Clockwork Castle, because the board is actually an unlockable board, you have to buy it in the star bank for 100 stars, so save up on those stars if you want to play this board. As for this board's objective, well, let's just read about it. Here at Clockwork Castle, DK and Bowser move around the board after everyone has taken a turn. DK walks around during the day, and Bowser roams at night. They move in the opposite directions. If you can catch DK, you can buy a star from him for 20 coins. But beware of Bowser. If you land on his space, he'll rob coins or stars from you. And that is basically how the board works. You have to catch up with DK and get the hell away from Bowser. Pretty standard board, wouldn't you say? Well, the fact that the Bowser and DK can actually move across the board actually makes this board kind of chaotic in its own right, but still, it's a pretty fun board. They could have done worse. They could have done a lot worse. It's still pretty fun, though. And DK is actually right there. That's not too far from where we are. But still, it might take a few turns to actually catch up with him, though. So, I know what you guys are wanting me to talk about in this playthrough. Because, as you know, E3 2010 was this past week. And boy, did a lot happen during that E3. There was so much announced, especially for Nintendo. And since I am a giant Nintendo fan, you guys can probably make the correct assumption that I have a lot to say about what happened during the conference. And I guess I might as well talk about that now. I mean, might as well get the giant rant over with, especially while we're trying to get comfortable with this game. Basically, before I start talking about Nintendo, I'll briefly talk about Sony and Microsoft. Because I guess it wouldn't be an E3 discussion if I don't mention all the major companies. But basically, as for Sony and Microsoft, as you guys could probably expect, I wasn't very impressed with what they had to offer for obvious reasons. I don't know. From what I watched and from what I've read up on, it just seems they could have done a lot more, and they didn't really take advantage of the event like they should have. Microsoft was pretty much just the same, but what they actually did was, instead of actually announcing any new games or like big name games, they spent the majority of their time talking about the Xbox 360 Kinect, which is, I guess, their answer for the Wii's motion controls. And like, I mean, it's understandable to devote some time to that, but they didn't really announce any major games to go along with it. And if they did, it was games that, you know, you would normally expect from an Xbox conference. Like, I think they talked about Call of Duty for a while, which, oh, I wonder who saw that coming. And, you know, just stuff like that. It was just, you know, a typical Xbox conference. I wasn't really amazed with anything they had to offer. And it was pretty much the same for Sony, too. I mean, a lot of the games that look cool are games you would normally expect from, you know, that kind of conference. And they also announced, like, a lot of sequels and stuff. They announced the Little Big Planet sequel, and then also a sequel for Portal 2 as well. So, while those games look pretty cool, I mean, you had to expect them somewhat. And, like, I don't know, I think the point of those conferences is, yeah, you're supposed to wow the crowd with games that they love, but, you know, you also want to announce some new content as well. And Sony did have the whole, you know, 3D thing, but the whole 3D thing seems kind of ridiculous in my opinion, because while it is cool, I honestly wouldn't be willing to pay for a setup just so I could play games in 3D. I mean, 3D is honestly not my main concern when I'm playing video games. It's the gameplay, it's the game itself, not how the game looks like in a 3D environment. So yeah, overall I just wasn't very impressed with either Sony or Microsoft. They announced some good games here and there, but for For the most part, though, kind of disappointed. Now, as for Nintendo, I mean, they really didn't have to announce very much in terms of their hardware for the conference to actually be a good conference, because they had a lot of games to back up their conference, and then they also had the 3DS. I gotta say, the 3DS I was kind of skeptical about at first, because I honestly just bought the Nintendo DSi, and the reason I bought the DSi was because my old original DS is starting to break, and I needed a replacement DS, and the DSi seemed like a good replacement. However, as it turns out, they're making a new DS system in the next year, so I feel like I kind of wasted money by buying the DSi, but I still have a lot of money laying around, so I might still have enough money for the 3DS when it does come out, but I still feel kind of angry about having to purchase a new DS just to play the games I have now. Instead of, I should have just waited until the 3DS came out, but I had no idea they were even thinking about the 3DS until after I already got the DSi, so in that retrospect, it really wasn't my fault, but it still kind of made me angry a little bit. But from what I've seen from the system, it looks really awesome. The game has a lot of third-party support planned, and even the original titles that they're going to put on it, they look awesome. The new Kid Icarus game, when I saw that game, when I was watching the trailer for it, it looked amazing. And I honestly didn't really like the NES Kid Icarus because, well, mainly because I suck at it. But this game, it just looks awesome. So I'm definitely going to get the 3DS Kid Icarus. It looks like it's going to be so much fun. As for other things, other big-name Nintendo titles, the new Zelda Skyward Sword, that looks pretty sweet. It sucks that the presentation of the game kind of sucked because of the motion controls kind of being a little off, and there was a lot of interference during the presentation. But from what I've seen from people who actually got to play the demos, the controls really do work well. It really was just interference during the conference, which does kind of suck, but nothing they could really do about it. Not really sure what to do with this orb. I'll probably just... I'll put it right here. I'll cover up Toad's space. He doesn't need that space anyways. Let's see, other Nintendo games. They're doing a new Mario Sports Mix, which looks pretty cool too, I guess. I honestly would have liked a new Mario Golf or a Mario Tennis or something, but still. The new Mario Sports Mix does look pretty cool. And you also get to play Mario Dodgeball, which, I mean, come on, that's got to be a lot of fun right there. Aw, damn it, I barely missed DK. I barely missed him. Other games... Oh, they're making... Okay. There's two franchises they're actually returning to. New Donkey Kong Country. It's seriously been about, 14 years since the last Donkey Kong Country. And when I saw they were making a new one, I literally just, I almost had a heart attack. I mean, it's classic Donkey Kong Country. They're going back to 2D. They have a lot of the old Donkey Kong mechanics. It looks awesome. I'm really... Donkey Kong Country Returns is probably the game I got the most excited about during the conference. Because, I mean, it's just a long time coming. And, I honestly didn't expect it. I was honestly surprised when I saw that they were making a Donkey Kong Country game again. So I'm definitely going to get that game. They're also remaking GoldenEye, which I think is awesome. GoldenEye is honestly one of the best first-person shooter games ever to exist. I mean, a lot of people say that, and, I know that a lot of people think, it's just people who can't get over traditional games and stuff like that. But GoldenEye really did set the bar back in the day. It was honestly the first-person shooter to play. And it's honestly the only first-person shooter I can actually play and enjoy. And I'm just really happy to see they're making a remake for the game. My only concern is I hope the game doesn't, I hope it doesn't go bad, which I don't think it will, but still, you never know what can happen with games like that. They might, put far more into the actual, like, the graphics and stuff instead of the actual game. And I'm kind of interested to see what route they will take in, like, making the game. If it's going to be just, the same missions and the same levels, just redesigned, or if it's going to be, a whole different game altogether, which I hope they don't do, but still. I mean, I kind of understand that when you remake a game, you're going to try to make it better and make it a little bit different, but still.